I had some hot takes, some bad takes on Twitter, but when you're a business owner running a restaurant during COVID, you are trying to pay bills as a student. You're putting feelings out there to the world, but I've evolved, I've learned. I think it's more dishonest not to learn.
Far left Wisconsin gubernatorial candidate Francesca Hong with that last-ditch effort to clean up her past comments before tomorrow's primary. But the Wall Street Journal editorial board is urging voters to forget about the tweets and focus on her wanting a 17% income tax in public groceries. Now, that would be on top of federal taxes as well. Now, Hong also wants to abolish ICE, defund the police, push government-run socialized health care for all, create state-run grocery stores, and allow transitioning treatments for minors. Sounds like a plan. Well, some of those points are pretty consistent with her past pledges, especially her attacks against law enforcement. All of that appears in lockstep with the broader DSA platform, which critics say is so detached from reality that even the co-chair has trouble explaining a key pillar of it, high taxes.
Do you believe there should be millionaires in this country?
I'm less concerned about millionaires, more concerned about billionaires. We do believe in taxing the hell out of millionaires.
If you're the co-chair of the DSA, shouldn't you be more specific than just taxing the hell out of something? What exactly do you mean?
So, again, it's democracy, right? And we have to look at what we need to spend and what we need.
Harris, there are a lot of sound bites like that. And if you want a 17% tax, she's now distanced herself from that. But I was doing some math, and when you combine that with federal taxes, that's an effective tax rate of 54%.
Well, as she says, what I really don't understand about this is they don't even know the difference between a millionaire and a billionaire. They don't know where job creation comes from. They don't know what happens when people leave their state and how you're going to pay for all the things that you promise that are free. Now, Mom Donnie in New York is learning that. He's learning it the hard way, his city. But really and truly, her biggest problem for me, anyway, not the woman there, but Francesca Hong, if you will, because she's in the primary tomorrow in Wisconsin, is what she said about President Trump. Like, these people are a little bizarre at times, and this is what matters to me. Quote, she talked about being in the restaurant business during COVID. In the restaurant industry, when we are about to get rid of something, we say, we'll 86 it. And I say that's about blanking time, we 86 Trump. Now, when you consider, and look, there's video of it. You have to bleep it. When you consider that this is somebody who actually wants to lead, who wants to be a member of our government that they want to get rid of, by the way, too, that's some pretty dangerous talk. And it makes me wonder, we're already in an assassination culture. How far are they really willing to go to make their point? No, she doesn't represent everybody. She wants to represent the people of her state. I mean, it's really scary.
It is. And, she claims, it's restaurant language. But to me, 86 means something very different.
James Comer taught us the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. I asked James Carville about Hong. This is, of course, he's from the moderate wing. He got Bill Clinton elected. Here's what he said about her.
Look, I think that the progressive left, they're very tech people. I think they've come up with an AI random stupid idea generator. And I think the stupid idea generator can think of things that humans can't, like canceling Thanksgiving or being against interracial dating. So I'm just waiting to the next stupid idea AI generator that comes out, spits out of that.
I mean, that's pretty accurate, because saying that you're against Thanksgiving before you say it's your favorite holiday, I could see an AI stupid generator making that one.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, it's someone who's running for governor of Wisconsin, not AI. This, in part, this shows to me how great the country is. We have a great country that welcomes Korean Americans like her parents, like my parents, to the country, and they can have children here who, on her part, believe in things that would ruin the country. And you can have someone like me on this show who thinks everything she says is wrong. But I think the great part of the country is when they overwhelmingly reject her at the election, either tomorrow in a general election. Because what she is saying doesn't make any sense when you compare it to reality. People have tried these ideas before in places like Europe, in places like Russia and China and Venezuela. And not only do they ruin the countries, they lead to millions of people dying. So the idea that we should try socialism in a country where her parents, my parents, came to this country because of the freedoms, because of free markets, because of limited government, and they want to undermine those very principles. I don't understand why it's not just her, it's Mamdani, all these children of immigrants who came here for those reasons are turning against the country, turning against the reasons their parents wanted to bring them here in the first place.
Emily, listen to AOC. She has been careful with her endorsements. She has not endorsed in this race, but she was asked about Francesca Hong this weekend. Here's what she said.
I have a local city councilman that has this saying woke one was crazy.
Did the movement go too far with some of those positions? I mean, you briefly supported the idea of defunding the police.
I think that during this time and especially during COVID, there was a huge opening of the Overton window. Of course, rhetoric in that time is not rhetoric that we would use today.
So I'm sorry. No. So she's essentially saying, by the way, that the rhetoric was wider during COVID, that the aperture was broader, meaning it was okay to be a radical at that time and to use that language, and specifically to be advocating for policies and concepts that directly affect and impact negatively underserved communities and people of color. So now she's saying, but now it's a different time. I'm not quite sure what has changed, because we're the same America. What has changed would be an 800% uptick in crimes against Asian Americans, a 700% uptick in crimes against Jewish people, an entire generation of police officers that retired and with them left the institutional knowledge, and a spike in assaults, attacks, and ambushes. I mean, the list goes on of how her rhetoric had a negative impact on this country. She's obviously running for president. Hong, to me, represents a leaderless individual who is a chameleon and a parrot of ideas that she does not generate on her own. Note her language, just like AOC during Woke One, which was simply to parrot what other people, what true radicals are generating. They are the facsimile of that. She is, as a hopeful governor, attempting to defund the police. These policies are incongruent with someone that attempts to lead a state. You are telling me that she will be the head of unions, the head of law enforcement, the head of civic and social protection? The answer is a resounding, horrified no. And she also, in her dabbling in racial matters, is frankly simply a conduit for agitation. And the DSA bigwig, who says, as a democracy, you're welcome, by the way, and then says, what do we need and where are we getting it? You need our money, and you're getting it from us, with which you will simply pad the bureaucracy. So these people are frightening. They're getting pretty far, but people, voters, you guys, we all have to understand the worst thing we can do is put them in decision-making positions.
Molly, on that, I want to come to the politics of this with you, because you have David Crowley. He hails from a different wing of the Democratic Party against Francesca Hong. Polling shows that she is up by double digits, at least the polling I have seen. Polling was way off with El Sayed. He only won by 1. It said he would win by double digits. But let me read to you a quote from David Crowley, because there is this very weird union. He says, you know, it's the only time that I know that the governor, Tony Evers, who has said that he doesn't think Hong can win, the Republican Governors Association and Turning Point USA have ever been on the same page in thinking that Francesca Hong is the best candidate to lose this race. Turning Point USA on the same page as the Democratic governor on this one.
Well, the reason why they might be on the same page, the Democratic Party under Bill Clinton was a little bit of a different party. That party hasn't been in existence since 2008. And Obama has been giving phone calls to these people saying how happy he is that they're rising through the ranks. And you point out about the direct democracy that they're pushing. That is un-American. It's anti-American. This is a really serious threat to our constitutional republic, which is not a direct democracy, precisely to make sure that the mobs don't get to hold sway here. So people need to understand just what a serious threat, like all the positions that Hong has, which are, by the way, the same as AOC has. She might be hiding them as she's trying to win a general, or she's pointing more toward a general presidential election. But she's said those same things. Opposing rule of law, opposing law enforcement, opposing borders. These are pretty standard positions in the Democratic Party. Whether they're able to win a national election with that will be entirely a different question.
Completely underscoring your point is the fact that El Sayed won and all of his critics folded in with him. And if she wins on Tuesday, I predict you'll see the same.
Yep.
The Democratic Party is now the DSA party.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.